One of the greatest players in NFL history is quarterback Russell Wilson, who stands at 5'11". Wilson has been regarded as a consistent top 5 quarterback in recent years. He assisted the Seattle Seahawks in many postseason appearances, as well as their 2013 Super Bowl victory. Wilson has been chosen for 9 Pro Bowls and is one of just 5 quarterbacks with a career passer rating of over 100 in NFL history. So how did Russell Wilson become so bad? Russell Wilson was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2012 NFL Draft. He was the 75th overall pick and was selected in the 3rd round of the draft. Wilson, who was 5 feet and 11 inches, was considered to be short for a quarterback, which led him to be in the 6th quarterback taken. Linebacker Luke Kuechly, quarterback Andrew Luck, and linebacker Bobby Wagner are some of the prominent players who were drafted alongside Wilson in 2012. Wilson was named the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks in his first season with them in 2012. Wilson had to compete with Matt Flynn and Tavares Jackson for the starting spot. Wilson's rookie year, he started off strong. In fact, he was named the Rookie of the Year. He helped the Seahawks end the season with a 5-game winning streak. Wilson had passed for over 3,100 yards, had 26 touchdowns, along with 489 rushing yards his rookie year. The Seahawks finished the season 11-5, an improvement from a 7-9 record in 2011, and it marked Seattle's first winning season since 2007. Their 11 victories were the 3rd best in franchise history. The next season, the Seahawks was even more dominant. Wilson led the team to a 13-3 record along with their #1 ranked defense. The Legion of Boom only gave up 243 points all year, which is an average of only 15 points per game. The Seahawks were in the playoffs and played against the Saints, in which they won 23-15. But Wilson didn't particularly play great, but it was good enough for them to win. Then Wilson helped the Seahawks claim an NFC title against the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks then made it to the Super Bowl and destroyed the Denver Broncos 43-8. Wilson passed for 206 yards along with 2 touchdowns. Legion of Boom forced 4 turnovers that helped them win the game. Russell Wilson became only the 4th quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl in his 2nd season. He helped the Seahawks reach a consecutive Super Bowl the next season with stellar performances. But the Seahawks ended up losing out the Vince Lombardi Trophy to the New England Patriots. Most football fans know what happened. Pete Carroll made one of the most stupidest decisions I ever seen in my life. Seahawks fans probably still have nightmares for them passing on the 1-yard line when they had one of the best bats in that generation in Marshawn Lynch. Wilson ended up throwing a slant route that Malcolm Butler jumped the route and ended up intercepting the ball. The Seahawks never sniffed another Super Bowl appearance since 2014. Wilson then signed an $87.6 million deal with the Seahawks in 2015. During those next couple of seasons, Russell Wilson was considered a top 5 quarterback. I mean, just look at these stats I'm showing you. Prime Russ is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and I truly stand by that. I mean, Pete Carroll was just letting Russ cook, and it was working for the time. Wilson then signed another contract extension for $140 million in 2018. Then this is where things were going downhill. Schottenheimer, who was the Seahawks offensive coordinator, held the Seahawks offense from 2018 to 2020, with Seattle finishing in the top 10 in score offense each season. Despite that relative success, he and Wilson did not see eye to eye on the team's offensive philosophy. Schottenheimer was dismissed in January 2021 for reportedly having philosophical differences with head coach Pete Carroll, and Wilson spoke out in support of his former coordinator in the media, which was a lie. Wilson also reportedly called out his O-line a lot and talked about how much he was getting sacked compared to others. Eventually, his time with the Seattle Seahawks was over. People at the heart of the Wilson-Seahawks breakup, including those close to the quarterback and members of the Seahawks front office, coaching staff, and players, described to ESPN how a dysfunctional situation built toward its eventual breaking point. Wilson wanted out, believing Coach Pete Carroll and the organization was holding him back, and with their own misgivings about how his game was aging, the Seahawks lost faith in Wilson, just as he had lost faith in them. Wilson was then traded to the Denver Broncos, along with a 4th-round pick by the Seahawks. Seattle traded him for 2 second-round picks, 1 5th-round pick, quarterback Drew Lock, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, and tight end Noah Fant. Wilson received a signing bonus of $70 million for a 4-year contract with the Broncos. Wilson's first season with the Denver Broncos was a departure from the success he had with the Seahawks. The Broncos had one of the worst offenses in the league, with Wilson having passed for 3,524 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, along with 55 carries for 277 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. In fact, he was the most sacked quarterback of the 2020 NFL season. Whether it was Broncos Country Let's Ride or a Subway commercial that gave off stalkerish vibes, fans started to turn on Wilson's positive demeanor as the Broncos offense collapsed. With every bad throwing performance, Wilson never wavered from trying to think neutral. That's why no matter how poorly he performed, Wilson always ended every press conference with this: Broncos Country, let's ride. Did Wilson handle the negative media attention as well as he should? Maybe not, but this was Wilson's first full season without one of his best friends Mowat in his corner. The man he could turn for guidance wasn't there, so we shouldn't be shocked that Wilson's play and personality started to lose their luster that year. The constant reassurance during press conferences and insistence on staying positive, even during the worst times weren't Wilson being corny. but rather Wilson trying his best to keep following his friends and partners' philosophy, but lacking the direction he had the previous 10 years. The next season with the Denver Broncos isn't that much better from last year. The Broncos are currently 1-5, and Sean Payton has repeatedly called out Russell Wilson for his performance. Just recently in their game against the Kansas City Chiefs, Russ was 13 for 22 with 95 yards and 2 interceptions. Russ was one of the best QBs a few seasons ago, but now he's clearly not the same player and continues to play poorly. It seems his NFL career will be ending very soon, but before I end this video,
Broncos country, let's ride.